Welcome to Speaking Prowess, the show that supercharges your communication and fuels unstoppable success. Sifu Rafael, visionary founder and world-renowned master instructor, elevates leaders into unforgettable communicators who command the room and inspire action. Alongside him is Scott Schilling, the authentic connector, a business growth expert with 40 years of experience, empowering audiences to rise higher, succeed faster, and thrive with purpose. Together they bring you the strategies, insights, and inspiration to amplify your voice, expand your influence, and unlock your true potential. This is Speaking Prowess. Your journey to communication mastery starts now.
5, 4, 3,
Happy Friday, Scott. How are you today?
Happy Friday. I am fabulous, but I'll get better.
You always get better. You kidding me?
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this show. This is going to be a great one.
Absolutely.
As people probably heard in the open, my moniker is the authentic connector. So I love people that talk the language of lasting connections.
Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and bring them on. We got Devin and we have Ken. Gentlemen, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's afternoon now. It's 12:01 for some of us. I know that depends on where you are in the world. Sometimes it's evening for someone who's watching. So welcome everyone in the world, because we know that this show is seen all over the world, and we are appreciative of that. Connections, making them last. What? How do we do that? Devin, take it away, my friend.
That's a broad question, man. Where do you want to start? I mean, it's on my shirt, so who can I connect you with?
From the beginning.
And what the key message anytime someone says, let's talk connection is, how do you start every conversation, right? And so I approach everything with one core principle, always add value. So my goal when meeting people, when building relationships, when nurturing, is to ask enough questions so that I can edify and endorse other people and make strategic connections for them and add value, not through my product or service, but by solving problems, providing resources, or making connections. And so every single touch, including today, I'm going to be looking for, Scott, who can I connect you with? Ken, who can I connect with? How can I add value to you guys? Because I know if I show up that way, it will always pay out in the long run.
Wow. Powerful for sure.
Absolutely love that. Ken, what's your thought?
Well, my thought is I want to try and help people in any way that I can. I know many of your viewers may not know, but I'm a quadriplegic. I'm almost totally paralyzed below my shoulders. So as a result, I need to use my voice and my communication skills for basically everything I need, because I can't do things for myself. So I've had to learn how to use my voice and communicate a lot more effectively to try and tell people exactly what I need and how to do it to help me. But what I'd most like to do now is to give back and help others in any way that I can, as well as to put people at ease when they're with me, because a lot of people will feel very uncomfortable around somebody who's sitting in a wheelchair. And they may say things like, would you like to go for a walk? And suddenly they catch themselves and say, oh my goodness, I said the wrong thing. And of course, I say all the time, let's go for a walk or do something. So I try my best to put everybody at ease, and in any way that I can to help others in any way that I can do that to make them more comfortable with their life.
So I'm going to have to say to you, because I want to come and meet up with you because you're near me. I'm going to say, let's go for a stroll.
Great. I'm ready.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Isn't it interesting that we have the opportunity to take whatever situation we're in and be able to make it the best we possibly can? And I love the fact that you said, hey, I want to dial in my voice. I want to use my voice to connect people, and I want to use the skills and talents I have to do it. I think it's not only admirable, I think it's a great lesson for everybody listening here.
Well, I want to give this young man kudos, because he did write a book, and he's very lazy. Would you mind telling us, Ken, some of the career paths that you've taken?
Okay, well, I had a spinal cord injury when I was 20 years old during my junior year at Cornell University. And I was in the hospital for close to 10 months after my injury. But once I finally finished my hospital stay and my rehabilitation, I returned to Cornell, where I earned my Bachelor of Science degree, where I majored in industrial engineering. But I decided that that really wasn't a very viable field for me. I mean, this was well before they had laptop computers. And based on the recommendation of a psychology professor, I changed my career goal and I decided to try and pursue a career as a counselor. So I stayed at Cornell and earned a Master of Arts at Cornell in counseling and student personnel administration. And then to increase my counseling credentials, I went to Columbia University, where I earned my second master's degree. This one, a Master of Education degree in psychological counseling and rehabilitation. And then I worked for a couple of years as a vocational rehabilitation counselor, helping other individuals who had severe disabilities. But I felt there was still more that I could do, so I left that job and went to law school at Hofstra University. And following my graduation there, I got my dream job as an assistant district attorney, where I worked for more than 40 years.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. You didn't leave much time for much else, did you?
Well, I left enough time to be married. I have my wonderful wife just sitting off camera to my right, and to make my life even more fulfilling, through in vitro fertilization, my wife became pregnant, and I'm the very proud father of triplet sons.
Wow, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I told you he was lazy.
Well,
Yeah.
my wife talked me into having children, and she was so right. And my boys are now 20 years old. They're juniors at 3 separate colleges in upstate New York.
Pretty fabulous there for sure. I think it's, again, what I had said earlier, just having the heart and the desire to want to take the talents and capabilities God's granted and use them wherever you can, however you can.
Well, I was fortunate that while I'm paralyzed over most of my body, it didn't affect my voice and my communication skills. So fortunately, I've been able to still speak and, as best I can, help others using my voice.
Yeah, absolutely. We sometimes take for granted the gift of voice, of speaking, of communicating, and we sometimes we take this brilliance that's inside of us and we follow others who are not using it, and so we start speaking incorrectly. We start cursing. We start using words that are negative. And instead of getting rid of that nonsense and moving forward with the gift that God has given us, which is our voice, our communication skills. And I know that everyone on this panel is using that accordingly to impact the world in a greater way. And Devin, I mean, you too, my friend, have written a book on how to connect with people in a positive way. Talk to us about why that's so important to you.
Yeah, first, Ken, thanks for sharing your story, man. You, I think, did more school than all of us put together. Congrats on that. Yeah, so I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I found myself in my very first business was a digital marketing agency. Scarcity mindset, highly competitive. Everyone around me fighting for business, even though there was an abundance, right? Which there is. There's abundance everywhere. And, you listen to the sales tactics, you listen to the trainings, and it's all about, close quicker, close faster, do these things, push, call, do more, numbers, volume. And I'm like, man, this is just not me. Like, this is not what I want to do. This is not there has to be another way. And so I happen to be lucky that I'm a visionary. I love creating and casting vision, but I'm also a systems guy. I love getting in the weeds and figuring out how to make systems and operate stuff. And so I said, there's got to be a better way. So I just broke down the sales and relationship development process into every single aspect. And I went to our core principle number 2, which is control what you can control. And Ken, you are the testament to that statement, right? You controlled what you can control, and you've elevated it. And so that's what I did. I went back to, how can I show up to network different? How can I ask different questions? How can I follow up different? How can I book meetings different? How can I conduct those meetings different? And as I started to dissect that, that's when the brilliance started to come out, going, man, there is a system here. And then I cast this vision to facilitate 1 million connections in the world, and I can't do it alone. So the only way I can facilitate 1 million connections is launch a community and write a book, which are the 2 things we did. So that's kind of the foundation that led to the book, and the inspiration why is I just wanted to find a different way to build relationships and generate revenue that was more authentic to who I am, and built way longer relationships than these quick hit, high turnover revenue plays.
I think it's a fabulous, classically, I'm a sales guy. And I say that like people are going to go, ooh. Well, guess what? Everything in life is a sale. Every time you open up your face, you're selling. You put out something for somebody to consider, and they either accept it or they reject it, which now you're in objection handling. So the reality is it's okay, because ultimately selling is serving. And especially when you look at it, as you were just saying there, Devin, from a side where you're looking to connect with people for all the right reasons. People make sales way too hard, typically 4 words: identify problem, provide solution. How could you ever go wrong providing somebody a solution? So again, love the whole concept of connecting for depth, for relationship, and taking it from that standpoint. What are some of the things that you suggest in the book or is in your community to make sure that that happens?
Yeah, a great example I'd like to share is the nurture email language, because the language we use, and that's the theme today, right, is so specific. And what's interesting is when I share these templates, people try to customize them and elevate them and do crazy stuff with them. I promise you can use them exactly as dictated because they work. And so when we check in with people and we nurture everyone in our database that's not cold every 6 weeks, they get an email from me that says, checking in, how are you doing? ? Hey, Scott, I hope you're doing well and having a great day. It's been a while since we last connected. What's new and exciting in your world? Any new challenges? Please let me know what connections I can make for you. I look forward to hearing back from you. So assumptive close, how can I help you? What's new and exciting? What are your roadblocks and barriers? It's been a while, so setting the stage that I'm checking in. All one-to-one emails, all direct. Yes, we automate it. Yes, we do other stuff, but they come off and they are presented as one-to-one emails. So that language framework, it's all about the other person. And what happens is we get a higher response rate, we get more in-depth responses, and it actually opens up the conversation so that then we can lean in and figure out, can we partner? Can we find opportunities together? Can I help you? Can you help me? Where can we go? But if the conversation doesn't start, you can't go anywhere. And so that's the whole foundation in the book, is every language point we talk about is about the other person and motivating them to take the action you want, whether it's booking the meeting or replying to your email.
Wow. Powerful, powerful. Deep connections. I think deep connections are something that we need to develop. They don't just happen in an instant. And it's every time we have a conversation, we go deeper and deeper. Scott and I have lots of conversations, and I got to tell you, the more conversations I have with the man, the more I get to love him, the more I get to understand and value his insights. And same thing with the two of you as well, Ken and Devin. Devin, you've been on my shows. Ken, this is you on my show recently. And the more I get to know about you and the brilliance that you both bring, the more I'm like, I need to know them more. I need to socialize with them more. I need to maybe even break bread with them, because for me, it's sometimes when we're on a screen like this, we get to know each other, but when we're in the presence of each other, wow, that really changes the perspective, I believe. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear that from everyone.
Oh, Sifu, I definitely agree. And being able to meet in person can make a huge difference. But just to tell you a little bit more about me, when I was injured at 20 years old, I would have considered myself a very shy, bit of an introverted person. I would sit in the very back of a very large lecture, never raise my hand, hope people never noticed me. And if they would have added another row to the back of the lecture, I would have moved back one row to be even further back. So then to be in a position where suddenly now I need to speak and communicate more was a very difficult position for me to be in. And not long after my injury, I was actually asked to be the commencement speaker at a high school graduation in upstate New York. And I was flabbergasted. One, I didn't know people even knew who I was. Two, let alone that they'd want me to speak at their graduation. And three, how do I get up in front of 1,000 people and deliver a talk? And that took quite a lot of adjusting on my part to be able to now appear in front of people rather than sitting in the very back row.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that is you're so inspiring, and when we think about, and I joke with you that you do so little, because everybody has a reason to complain why their life is where it is, but they're not doing anything about it, right? You could have been in that accident, and you could have said, "Poor me," and everybody else has to, do for me, and I'm not going to do anything for me because poor me. But you chose better. You chose better, and that's the beauty that you're sharing with us. So thank you. I think we all have a choice, and we can choose to stay or to move. You're moving.
Sifu, I agree with that. And I know every morning when I wake up in the morning, I have a choice whether I'm going to be sad and depressed or whether I'm going to be happy, energetic, and try and go out and make something of my life and help others. And I recognize that's my choice and I have to make the most of it.
I want to share something with everybody. Take a look. The date is wrong, but the next one we're having is December 6th and 7th. Take a peek.
Turn it up, let's go. Turn it up, let's go. Let's go. No time to wait. Bass too loud and the vibe too great. Let's go. Full on fire. Every move hit like a live wire. Let's go. Step we move. No fear here, just hard to go. Let's go. Lights on blast. We don't hold back. We move fast. Hit the flow, we don't miss. Whole room lit like a first kiss. No cap, no stress, no chill. Just truth, emotion, and will. This is how we speak in steps, no script, just depth. Every beat we turn it up and leave that silence in the dust. Let's go, no time to wait. Bass too loud and the vibe too great. Let's go, full on fire.
So that's one of the things that I found, that we were able to make deeper connections by me curating a space like that. Because we have the event, and then we have the meeting after the meeting, after the meeting, after the meeting, after the meeting. And that's where the deeper connections happen. And I've already invited Ken to be here. I definitely want you here. We have no stairs, we have anything. And if anything, Anna would be carrying you anyway, because she's such a powerhouse. And, Devin, I definitely would love for you to come and join us. It's going to be December 6th and 7th. And Scott, we need you here, my friend. So when I curate a space like that, I give everybody a chance to introduce themselves, a chance to connect with someone else. And then for me, it's how do we serve one another without, and one of the things at my events, no selling. We're not here to sell, because the connections sell your future. The way you connect today will sell someone on you. So I love what Scott talked about. He's a salesman and people like boo. And I love Devin went like this. So it was kind of funny. But think about it. So many people look at salespeople in a negative way because there are some sleazy ones. But if I ever needed to buy what Scott had to sell, I would rather have him selling it to me than anyone else in the company. Let's say he worked with 1,000 salespeople and he was one of the ones selling, and everybody has their own method. I would want Scott. The reason I want Scott is because he's not going to sell it to me unless he knows I need it. And that's the difference between the right salesperson in front of you and the one that just wants to look at their bank account. So that's
well,
why.
thank you, Sifu. And but it's absolutely true, and it's one of the things, the distinctions, and we're talking about language here today, right? And creating lasting connections. That's why I'm so proud to be a professional salesperson, because I do it professionally. And how do you do that? I don't ever want to sell anybody anything, but I do always want them to buy a lot from me. Therefore, it's my responsibility to create that environment for them to want what I have. And so when I sell something to somebody, it is for my benefit. When I present in such a way that somebody wants it, it is for their benefit. So that's the distinction there. And that's why I love when Devin said the nurture email template and templates and things like that, because that's really what, when you're creating an environment for somebody to buy, there is so much trust established in advance of that transaction that in fact people are going, well, I trust what you're telling me because I feel because of our connection that you're doing it for my benefit, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a big part of this, and that's why I'm love what you're talking about there, Devin, in the nurture sequences and the things like that, because that's what it's all about. People do business with those they trust. They take action when they're ready, but trust has to be built ahead of when they're ready by definition. So I love what you're doing on the connection side. How does that nurture sequence go to then continue to build those relationships in such a great way using language that speaks to them?
Yeah, great question. And I want to echo something you just said. So a quote that I share with everyone is everybody wants to buy, nobody wants to be sold. And so Scott, that's exactly what you just said, right? Like we are trained to be consumers, yet so often sales and marketing tactics focus on the sell. Actually, you need to make it easy for people to buy. Totally different tactics, totally different strategies. So going to your question specifically, the goal of the nurture email is to engage in conversation, because if we're not having conversation, we can't move anywhere, right? We can't position for someone to buy. We can't have a meeting. We can't have a conversation. Like if it doesn't open dialogue, nothing's happening. And so many people are sitting on vanity metrics, right? Huge LinkedIn connections, email databases, social connections, maybe even contacts in your CRM that you're doing nothing with. And so the nurture email re-engages that database and warms it up so that people are communicating with you. Now, from that communication, you want to move it into a conversation, right? Hey, let's get on a catch-up meeting, right? Whether in person or virtual. Now, in that meeting, this is where we have a chance to be different. Because when we show up to the meeting, we want to ask questions 80% of the time. We want the other person talking. Who are you? Catch me up, man. Remind me what's going on in your world. Catch me up on how you got here. Where are you going? You want to cast vision with them. What's your dreams? What are your goals? What are you chasing? What's in the way so we can solve problems and help them? And then who can I connect you with? You always lead with that as the anchor, because if I lead with that as the anchor, I can deliver, right? I can make connections for you. Plus it plants the seed that I would like you to make connections for me too. If you don't, no worries, but I want to lay the foundation of intent that the goal from this meeting is me to learn about you, me to connect you, and hopefully you'll reciprocate. And we know it's a 3-to-1 ratio. So if I make 3 connections for you, you'll make 1 back. And so all of this language, right, builds to this moment where you get to continue to add value. And then people typically go, oh, okay, it's great. I've been making connections with people and helping, but they're not reciprocating, right? And so there's no revenue attached to this activity. Okay, well, let me break this down. What are you asking for? Because this is where the system breaks. And Sifu, back to what you said in person, this is where people fail too. When someone says, who can I connect you with or what value can I add? Most people default to their prospect. This is the exact person I want to meet. Team me up so that I can sell to them. What, huh? Wait. I just met you and you want me to tee you up to someone in my network that I know, like, and trust so that you can sell to them. Like, there's so much barrier there. Instead, we want to shift our ask, right? Who has access to your clients? Who can be a strategic partner and referral partner? Because if Scott says, hey, Devin, who can I connect you with? And I said, hey, I want to meet mastermind hosts so I can come alongside them and add value to their group. Scott's like, okay, cool. I know a few mastermind hosts. Let me connect you. There's no friction because it's all value focused. And so use the language to get in the conversation, stay with integrity in the meeting about the other person, deliver on your part, control what you can control, stop chasing prospects or clients, and build relationships, because that's how you build a network that produces inbound referrals in the long run. But it's a long game. It's not a short game.
Not at all.
You know, it's interesting. And Sifu, I know you're going to jump in here, but I want to catch one thing real quick. And this is a language piece. You said, we all know we give 3 referrals, we get 1 back. I'm going to suggest we don't all know that at all. I mean, that was a golden nugget right there. So, okay, now I'll be quiet.
You spoke about someone trying to get names from you so they can sell their product to all of your connections. And that's just sleazy, right? That's what a salesman is known for. And we are not doing that. And when you think about the way Scott and I connected, it was Brigitte who connected us. She didn't ask for my information. I know, didn't ask for his, except to connect us. And she said, you guys are like-minded. You guys are going to love each other. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And she was 1,000% right. 1,000% right. Scott isn't in my Sifu's Mind Body Method program. I'll share that with you in a little while. And it is such an impactful connection that we have because someone said they didn't gain anything from it. Scott and I did. And would I want to connect someone that I know she would gain from? Absolutely. Would Scott want to do that? Absolutely. So it's how we connect other people together. And it's not just a blanket, it's curated. So a lot of times I want to know about you because, hey, maybe you have a product that I don't need, but I know Ken can use it. So, hey, Ken, by the way, I need you to connect with Scott. He's got this whole thing, and I think you guys would be great together.
Thank you.
That's what I do.
Great. Well, Scott, I might add that what you initially said about developing trust with someone makes a huge difference. And I found that to be particularly important working as a trial attorney. I mean, one of the first things I used to do when I was picking a jury and beginning my case was to develop that trust with the jury, right? So that they could believe me when I advocated for a certain position. And then I tried to approach them in a very logical, orderly manner so that they would derive themselves at the result that I was advocating.
You know, there's another piece of language right there. And sorry, I'm writing it down. Actually, I'm not sorry I'm writing it down. But I love advocating for a position. Sometimes I think people don't understand that the quality of our life, the quality of our relationships becomes the quality of our communication. You know, up-leveling our word choice and some things like that. And Sifu knows this in our time together. You know, word choice is huge to me. And so I hear a word here or there, and like the nurture word from Devin and now the advocate word from you. It's a professional quality feel just in the way you describe that situation. It's awesome. Absolutely love it.
I might add too, with respect to communication, as a result of my disability, I'm not able to take notes by myself. So I used to try and train my memory to remember everything that I wanted to say or questions I wanted to ask. So when I was given a summation in front of the jury, I would lie awake for hours ahead of time, trying to organize my thoughts and remember to be able to present everything I wanted to present in an orderly fashion. And one of the comments that I always used to get from the jurors is, "You had great eye contact." Well, of course, I had good eye contact because I had no notes to look at. But they found that built trust as well. The fact that I could look them in the eye and then advocate a certain position.
That's what a lot of people miss is great eye contact. And especially, and Scott, you can definitely speak on this. As a professional speaker, when you're on stage, some people don't know how to move around with different eye contact. They stare at one person and makes that one person super uncomfortable.
Turn a hole through them.
Yeah, can you imagine doing that to a jury? That jury person's like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" So it's about navigating great eye contact with people. Because I was talking to somebody just the other day, and I caught myself because they were so vivid at what they were saying that I was just like burning a hole. I was like, wait a minute, let me just look over here for a second, just so they don't feel uncomfortable, because what they were saying was so truly invigorating to me. So I didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable. And also, in some cultures, looking somebody directly in the eye is not necessarily good. So you also have to know whom you're speaking with as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I was very blessed to learn from some of the best and experience it as well. But there's two things to answer what you suggested there, Sifu. And the first is only move with a purpose. You don't move on stage unless there's a purposeful reason for moving. And as far as eye contact, my mentor said, focus on 3 to 5 seconds, and what you'll realize, it actually takes 5 to 8 seconds. If you can maintain eye contact for 5 to 8 seconds and then move with a purpose to someone else, you will, in that time, you're thinking 5 to 8, you'll actually do 3 to 5. But what it'll do is it'll draw that person in, because again, it's about those lasting connections. It's about the feeling that gets created in that conversation. So eye contact is another part of language, quite frankly.
Scott, can I share something on being on stage? And this is a sneaky secret for people.
Please.
You have to know the room. And so often I see speakers get stuck in the green room and they don't understand the environment of the room. They haven't talked to the attendees. They don't understand who's there. They don't understand who's who in the room. And so my secret to success, and I'm on 100 plus stages a year, is I know the room. And I know people's names, I know their stories, I know what's going on. And so from stage, not only can I give them eye contact, I can directly call people in the room. Yep. Hey, Mike, I did this at the what? I remember it. Mike got a hole in one, guys. Like, that's crazy. And it tied into the story I was telling. And then everyone's like, wait, who's this Mike guy? And he got a hole in one. And now it created a lunch conversation for him. And so if you know the room and you build relationships before you get on stage, not only can you make the eye contact, you can actually engage with people you've had conversations with. You can edify them. You can bring them into the stage with you. That creates a fully engaged audience that is only taking notes on the stuff you're talking about. They're not distracted and confused. But again, it takes you doing the work before you step on stage.
Yeah, I'll piggyback that just a little bit. My mentor always taught me, be the first speaker. If it's a 3-day event, be the first speaker at the 3-day event, be there the entire time, and be the last speaker to speak on the 3rd day. And connect with the audience so that as soon as you go on stage, you have friendlies, just what you described. I was doing an event up in Vancouver. There were about 600 or 800 in the audience. And on the 2nd day, they played some pretty wild music during the breaks. Well, I was down in the audience dancing with them. and it was hilarious, because then when it came the 3rd day for me to come on stage, and your dancing speaker, Scott Schilling, right? And there was this whole section of the room that cheered. I got a standing ovation coming on from a group that I hadn't said anything to yet. So I agree with you wholeheartedly, Devin. Devin, you and I, pretty sure we need to connect.
Yes, sir.
It's very interesting. Sometimes, you know, as a speaker, I've gone to people who say, "Hey, you know what? Can you come to my event?" And I'm like, "Sure. How can I support you?" "Oh, just come." I'm like, "Okay." And so I've been to some events, and I'm talking to people, and they're like, "Oh, you know, we've seen some speakers. When are you speaking?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm not speaking at this one." "Oh man, they're missing out." I'm like, "Okay, thank you for thinking that. I appreciate you. Just make sure you tell them that."
Yeah, don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Tell
Good to
them
know.
so
Good
that
to know. Now tell them.
right. When we think about any time, and some people think like, I'm not a speaker. You are. The minute you open your mouth, you're a speaker, and it impacts the people around you. So if I'm having a one-on-one conversation, I am the speaker, but most importantly, I need to be the listener.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, when we come to connections, a lot of, and this is one of the things I teach on the New York City experience thing, is you need to learn to listen first and understand who they are and ask them more about, like you talked about, Devin, earlier. What is your ambition? Where do you see yourself? What are you going through? How can I be of service? And then if they ask, because sometimes they don't ask, if they ask, then you can share your little bit about you. To the most important question I want to hear when I'm anywhere, I want people to say, because they know that I've been there, I've been listening 1,000%. And if they're a little bit in the room with me, they'll say, "Tell me more about you. Could you tell me more? Tell me more. Tell me more." And then all of a sudden, somebody else will come along and go, "Oh, you don't know about him? Let me tell you about him." I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute." So it's kind of interesting when we're in a room and we forget to listen, and all we want to do is tell, tell, tell. And I think the most important thing we need to do is ask. So ask 1,000 questions. You said it beautifully, Devin. Ask 80% of the time, and then speak 20% of the time.
Yeah, going to your point back to the networking and kind of bringing that home is I actually don't care if you know who I am or what I do at an event. I really don't, because the likelihood of you following up with me not to sell me is extremely low. My ability to get your contact information and follow up authentically and guide where we're going to go in this relationship, I can control that. So that gets back to control what you can control. So if I can go to an event and get everyone's contact information and have meaningful conversations where I learn about them, I win. I actually don't need to be memorable. I will be, right? There will be people who edify me. They're going to see my shirt. There'll be stuff that makes people laugh and engage, but that's not going to move the conversation forward. What moves it forward is, did we have a meaningful conversation? And then do I get your contact information so that I can follow up, so that I can control the conversation and communication? Otherwise, you're going to give out business cards and get spammed with sales pitches tomorrow. And then you're going to have to try to re-engage those conversations anyways. So just remember, your elevator pitch, none of that stuff, it actually really doesn't matter if we stop chasing clients.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I went to an event Wednesday and saw some amazing old friends. Not that they're amazingly old, amazing, old friends speaking. And they did just an exceptional job, and it was so fun. But one of the new speakers that I met, Mr. Thank You, was just talking about how to authentically thank people for the interaction that you have with them, wherever that might be, right? And set some framework to it. And I think it's fascinating. Like I say, you can always learn new things. I love frameworks that give you the opportunity to learn about people. And the reason I got there was because I saw a friend that was going to be speaking there do a video announcing he was going to be there. And I bragged on the promoter for getting him. And he goes, well, what are you doing? I'm just going to be working all day. Well, then why don't you come join us? Okay. So again, I mean, I wasn't trying to solicit a ticket. I wasn't trying to, I was actually bragging on my friend and his genius that he was going to add to the event. So again, I think these are all things that from the language of lasting connections, the things that we do, if we subordinate, well, I come out of the Ziegler camp, and Sifu obviously knows that, but you can have everything in life you want when you help enough other people get what they want. Is if we sit in that servant leadership position, ultimately the right stuff will come to us as well.
How do we express ourselves at a meeting the right way to not sound salesy and be more authentic with, I want to get to know you? How do we, I know how I do. I'm just curious how you guys do it.
I say I'll jump in. I'm just going to reiterate what I said. Like, when I go in a room, I ask people 4 questions. What do you do? How long have you been doing it? If they've been doing it a long time, then I say something like, you must love what you do, which then either gets them to talk positively about what they do or they air their dirty laundry. If it's a short time, so under 6 months, I say, what did you do before? Because I'm mining for previous data. And then I always end with, who can I connect you with? Like, what would be a great connection for you? Because if I know who they are, where they came from, and who their ideal client is, I know enough to follow up and build relationships. And then I always ask for the business card. You would be amazed. I could have a first meeting with someone, send them an email, book a meeting, sit through a connection meeting, get to the end of the connection meeting, and they still have no clue what I do, yet still invite me to a stage, a podcast, and go, well, wait a second. How do I help you? Right. And now we've earned all of the trust so that when the question shows up, I can, one, align because I know all the data. I know who you are. I know what your motives are. I know what your pain points are. I know what your challenges are. I know what your dreams are. I know everything. So now when you ask, I can answer in a specific way. I think people rush so quick to try to position the sell or position the authority. And you don't need to do that because it's the wrong moment anyways. Like, I can't close you at a networking event, right? Unless you expressly say, I'm struggling with building my network. Well, fantastic. We should have another conversation about that because that's what I do, right? And I can invite you into a conversation, but I'm not going to get you to write me a check at the event. So I literally will go into events and I try to be the mystery man, right? Like, try to be Superman, right? Like, I want you to see me and remember me, but I don't need you to know what I do.
What do you do? I'm just kidding. You connect. So when we're thinking about, we're going to all different events, can talk to us about how you're connecting, because you're on podcasts. You and I were connected. You came on my other one. You were on my, and you're coming on my other shows as well. How is it that you're, obviously Anna's there to guide and help you and do all these things, but why is it important for you at this point to continue to build relationships and to continue to build even new connections?
Well, in many ways, Sifu, I feel like I'm a salesman as well. I want to convince people that there's an awful lot someone with a disability can still deal with their life, right? That disability does not mean inability. And one of the things that I'm involved with is advocate to employers to hire people with disabilities. To tell you a little bit more about my story, as I told you, I got 2 degrees from Cornell, 1 degree from Columbia. And when I was looking for a job, here I had 3 prestigious Ivy League degrees, 2 master's degrees, and no one would hire me because everybody felt I was just too disabled to work. And what I had to do is become an advocate, not just for myself, but now for others, to show people that just because someone has a disability does not mean they cannot become a terrific worker for your company. And that's one of the things I've dedicated my life to, is showing, don't judge a book by its cover. Look underneath and see what motivates a person, what drives them, and what they can offer to you or your company to be the best that your company can now be by hiring them. And there are times when I'm dealing with people who are nonverbal and they have different ways of communicating through technology. And sometimes I need to encourage people to show the patience to listen to what somebody has to say, even if it means reading what they're saying rather than hearing them verbally, and make that connection that way. And I'm very proud to say that I now serve on the board of directors at the Viscardi Center, which is a rehabilitation facility on Long Island that helps people with disabilities get jobs, get employment, advance their education. And I found it makes a big difference if you can advocate for people in the proper way, to show it's not just, being charitable. It makes good business sense to hire an otherwise qualified individual to do the job that you may not have thought they could do.
I love the part of don't judge a book by its cover. You actually have to open the book and read it, right? And that's getting to know someone, because a lot of times, if we saw you somewhere and we said, "Oh, that guy's in a wheelchair, he can't help me," right? Meanwhile, you're helping all of us so much, but we wouldn't know that unless we kind of open that book. You are that book. Obviously, yes, and you did write that book, right? So when we think about so many people do judge, and one of the things that I always say is, what would happen if the whole world was blind? Would we be able to judge each other on anything, any physical aspects? Zero. So I think that we need to look at the world with compassion and a level of understanding that's beyond us, so that we can grow as an individual.
I think another thing
Sifu,
go ahead, Devin.
Okay, yeah. I just want to anchor Ken. I want to share this core principle we use, which is there's value in every relationship. You just have to be curious to figure out where and how. And so, Sifu, to what you were saying, I think people show up with assumptions and judgments, either from the research or the physical perceptions, instead of following the process to remain curious. And so that's what I hold myself accountable to. I think everyone on here who's successful can tell us a story where they slipped the other way, right? The guy showed up wearing cargo shorts and a painted t-shirt and was your highest paying customer, right? The person showed up in a way you thought was misaligned because they were having a bad day or a bad morning, or God forbid, dealing with triplets, Ken, right? And just had a morning. And maybe they showed up wrong, but as you got into the conversation, you realize that there was value there, right? So often we have that innate reaction, and you have to overcome that, because that's where the curiosity kicks in, and you can really find the collaboration and the alignment. And that's where all of my biggest deals, biggest relationships, closest friends, and inner circle, they've all come from those moments.
Devin, if I may just comment on that, that brings me back to one of my chief causes, is the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion. For some reason, the current administration seems to have a negative feeling about that. And I think welcoming and including people that may be different than you, whether it be through religion or their educational background or where they come from, helps everybody. Everybody grows by that. They talk about America being the great melting pot, where we welcome people, and people that are different than us are the people we can learn the most from. And I think that makes such a difference to people when they recognize that, and when they try and connect with somebody who may be a little different than them.
I think, both things are said. Again, you might see my head down every once in a while. No, I'm not ordering lunch, although that wouldn't be a bad idea. But it would be healthy because of Sifu and the Sifu mind body method. But the
That means I have to play the commercial.
I know
After
you're
finish,
going to
I'll
have
play the commercial. Yeah.
no. So, but I mean, again, the nuggets that are coming out here are amazing. Disability does not mean inability. That's an amazing statement, and there's value in every relationship. Sometimes you just have to be curious enough to find it. I mean, those are amazing things to carry forward, to be of service to so many people, quite frankly, and to share concepts. And that's a big part of what Speaking Prowess is. And that's why this podcast, we're working to share concepts with people that they can carry along with them and share. And sometimes I wonder if they actually hear it. And I understand my mentor drilled it into me, obviously, because I hear that stuff, and all I want to do is I want to write it down. And I don't want to write it down, but I want to write it down so that I can attribute it to you the next time it's applicable. And I think these are all the things that, that when we come to the language of lasting connections, connection is exactly that. It's coming together. It's what you said, Ken. It's we have so much to learn from so many. I have had some phenomenal ups in my career, and I have had some phenomenal less than ups in my career. And I'm convinced that I've lived through that so that I have a greater level of empathy, compassion, and desire to be of service to others. Mm-hmm. So we take the hand that's been dealt, and we can turn it into anything. And that's what's so awesome about learning these things about different languaging and being able to do this, to really build these connections that become exceptional going forward.
Thank you, Scott. If I may just comment on that as well. One of the reasons why I chose the title of my book, I Dream of Things That Never Were, is shortly after my injury, I was asked to testify before a United States Senate Health Subcommittee chaired by Senator Edward Kennedy. And 8 days after my testimony, Senator Kennedy sent me a glass paperweight in the mail that had an inscription on it that the senator said his late brother Robert Kennedy liked very much. And the inscription read, "Some men see things as they are and say why. I dream of things that never were and say why not." And that's why I chose the title of my book, I Dream of Things That Never Were, the Ken Kunkin story, because I want people not to limit what they believe you can do or what others can do. Dream of things that never were. Be the first to do certain things. Mm-hmm. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to people who say you just can't do something or it's never been done before, right? Dream of things that never were.
Powerful, powerful. And so Scott made me want to play this commercial. Take a look, everybody. You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind-Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today. Every day you need to command your vessel, if you will. So we are beyond thrilled that both of you decided to join us on the show today. what great insights. And like Scott was saying, and everybody here was saying, we need to have other people listen to this show again and again and again, and share it with somebody who you know needs to listen to this message. I am beyond thrilled. And when we talk about Sifu's mind body method, all the different things, and you are living the method with your voice, with your intent, with your actions. So thank you for being you. And Devin, you're connecting people at a higher level that people don't even realize they need to connect. They need to. If we all connected at a higher level, we wouldn't have so much crime and all these nonsense that's going on in our world. We probably wouldn't be at war, but also war brings money to people, and people are looking at the war because it's only financial. That's just my opinion. And as I always say, Scott, what do I always say? That is just my my 2 cents. And I do have them right here. So that's my 2 cents. I thought I'd share that with you guys. What I'd love to do right now is give everybody the time, 45 seconds. Tell us what they can expect when they connect with you. I'm going to go with Ken, if you can go first, and your website is going across the bottom.
Thank you. I think when they speak with me, they'll hopefully realize that people are working with unlimited potential, that there's an awful lot people can do if they're given the opportunity to show what they can do. And I believe I've been fortunate to receive a lot of help from others. And as a result of that, I've been able to achieve more than I would have been able to achieve if I was alone. And I think that applies to everybody. If you help others, not only will they benefit, but you will benefit by that as well. I found what made a big difference in my life was when I was in a position where I could help others. And that made an enormous difference in my life. I think that would help everybody to be able to experience that same feeling of being helpful to others.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Everybody, make sure you connect with Ken, kenkunkin.com. Devin, you're up, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ken, Scott. It was great to connect with both of you as well. Something I tell people all the time is if you're going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk. And I think what you'll find with a lot of connectors and super connectors and people talking about referrals and relationships is they have great theories and they say great things, but when you plug into their infrastructure, you don't experience the things they talked about. And so what you'll experience by coming into our world, whether it's our school community, reading the book, engaging with the courses, or meeting with me directly, is everything we teach is what we do, and it's how we build the companies we own. And so you're going to go through the process. You're going to experience it all. And at some point, you're going to go, oh, all this stuff you've been teaching is what I've been experiencing, right? And that's typically the aha moment someone's going to have. So I just welcome you to plug in, digest the content, and just figure out what's the one thing you can take away that you can implement today to change your path and have a bigger impact.
Love it. Love it. Everybody, make sure you connect with Devin. Go to his school.com, and there's your Access Connections Society, right? Think about connecting. Also think about today. Who have you not connected with in a while? And you talked about nurturing that by an email, a text message, a phone call. Reach out to somebody. It may be a family member. Reconnect. Because we're talking about lasting connections. Sometimes we just need to reconnect. Scott, my friend, you're up.
Well, I specialize in demystifying the sales process. Quite frankly, everything is a sale. Every time we open our mouth, we put out something for consideration. Selling is ultimately serving. And so I want to reframe that, change your mind, help you improve your mindset. Nobody likes change, but they do like improvement. See, word choice. And I help people sell more with less effort at higher margin for extended periods of time. And then I coach all sorts of different things on relationships and connecting and doing things as well. And, it all goes together. That's the bottom line. So again, looking forward to connecting with people because, again, I've done 3,000 live events in my career. You've got a pretty significant Rolodex for those of you who understand what a Rolodex is. So reach out.
Contacts on your phone. I'm Sifu Rafael. What can I say? I love connecting people as well. One of the things that matters to me is how I can help somebody improve their life through the way they live their life. So that's why I created Sifu's Mind Body Method. I'm blessed to have Scott as one of my members in it as well. If you're looking to make a difference in your life, let's talk. And also, listen, connections. If you want to join us December 6th and 7th, yes, I am a salesman too. Probably not as good as Scott, but I am learning, because this is why I talk to this man all the time. Come join us December 6th and 7th. Just text 516-242-8732. And yes, that's my number, so that we can have a conversation and connect deeper. Thank you, everybody, for a blessed experience today. I am blessed to know the three of you guys. I want to say four, but I'm looking at four guys and I'm one of them. So I am blessed to know me, by the way. So yes.
As are we.
Every day I look in the mirror, I'm like, man, I like you. Right? And then I turn around and I go, wait a minute, I love you. Remember to do that for yourself every single day, everybody. Do me a favor, everybody, share this show. Somebody needs to hear this message. The rest of you guys hang out for 5 minutes after we say goodbye to everybody. Everybody, God bless. You're beautiful and
thank you.
Rest of your day.
This is Speaking Prowess,